Welcome. My name is Anthony Van Luton,
Namar.
my co host. And today we're going to talk about, on Consider This, the complexity of emotions. The basis of the program is simply to point out the challenges that all humans have navigating life. Since we do come into the world a blank slate, without knowledge, without experience, the moment we're born, we start to absorb information, we start to experience life. And for a lot of humans, it's not always a positive thing. So we're not saying that. What we're saying is scientific. We're simply asking everyone to keep an open mind and to simply consider it. And today we're going to talk about the complexity of emotions. Most people feel, that they have their emotions under check. They're able to control their emotions. But I think that the reality is that, again, this is another area of life that humans don't get a lot of education and training on. We all have skills, and we only are good at those skills because we practice them. Life skills require practice too. And if we don't practice them, well, we're going to struggle, right? Life is always going to show up. And so for most humans, our emotions is sort of a, untapped area of being human. Humans are going to struggle from the moment they're born till they take their last breath. That's just life. And so as a child, in the era I grew up, I'm old. And so adults did not deal with emotional children. Their usual response was to shut it up or I'll give you something to cry about. Hey, you remember that, Mar? Mar's old too.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember that.
Right. So I'm sure there are plenty of people in the world who were raised in environments where people took the time to help children understand their emotions, why they might be feeling the way they're feeling, even to help them identify what the emotion was. But that was not my experience, and it's not a lot of humans' experience. And so most people simply, like animals, we are animals, and just simply act on their emotions. My issue was that when I'm angry, somebody gets struck. When I'm lonely, I'm going to go find someone to entertain me or to, entertain them. I'm tricking, in other words, right? And so I'm just acting on my emotions, whatever they are, because I have no knowledge, no understanding of what it is I'm feeling or why I'm even feeling what
No
I'm feeling.
guidance
No guidance. Well, okay.
on
Whoop,
those
whoop, there it
on
is.
those subjects. No guidance. Like your feelings didn't matter. Uh, it's so deep, and it wasn't just my household. Like a lot of my friends, their households was pretty much the same. It was basically hardly any real communication between parent and child unless you got in trouble. When you got in trouble, that's when they paid some attention to you. But all while you was going the 3 or the 4 or the 6 weeks or the 10 weeks without getting in any trouble, they paid you not a bit of attention. Honestly, I mean, if they did give anything, it was like maybe 20%, which is basically three hots and a cot, and maybe a couple pieces of clothes here and there. Like a lot of the kids that I grew up, the males I grew up with, that was the not all, but
Well,
start being the ones that I gravitated towards
right.
more
So
more so.
birds of a feather, right?
Right.
And so it's human nature to want to be a part of something, to feel a part of
Something.
something, right?
Yup.
And so, but our parents did the best they could do.
Yeah.
right? And you know, for a lot of people, the concept of parenting would be that you provide
Yeah,
a
yeah,
roof,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
That
it.
you feed them,
Yeah, three hots in a cot.
that you clothe them, right? And that anything additional is the icing on the cake, right?
That's so funny because
Because if you
you're
don't
right.
do any of those three, then the powers that be may want to have a conversation with you,
Nah,
right?
nah. I grew up with a lot of kids who didn't even have those three. Like honestly, like their houses was their mothers and fathers was just like the out. They was it was the streets. The streets was their whole lineage was the streets. You know.
Okay, well, but we're talking about humans and the struggle
Yeah.
of being a human, right? Since nobody is, I mean, if you're not getting the information, the knowledge, or the guidance with how to navigate whatever aspect of life is presenting itself, right, then you're going to struggle. You're going to do your best to navigate it successfully, but you're probably not going to be successful at it because you don't have the necessary information or, you know, guidance to help you do it successfully. We're talking about, you know, life stuff that every human's going to experience. What, healthy relationships? Do you know what a healthy relationship is? Do you know what it looks like? Have you ever seen one? I mean, you know,
On TV.
oh, well, okay. All right. Look, you know, if I put IKEA
No, I
for
did. I.
I,
You know, it's so funny that my age, there were a few of my old friends and homies who were married to their wives over 30 years, 40 years. I got one friend right now who been with his wife. It got to be 50 years, right? Or close to. They going on that. My man Flight. Uh, so it is, you know.
what, a healthy relationship is possible?
Oh,
Well, because they're married for a period of time does not guarantee that it's a healthy relationship. Look, there was a time when people were married for long years
yeah,
simply because a woman had no choice.
yeah.
She had to have a roof,
Oh well,
right?
I
And the
remember.
man did all the work, right? And she was the homemaker.
Oh, yeah,
She couldn't work,
yeah,
right? And so the man sort of, you know, had it going on. He go to work. He expect a hot meal when he gets home, right? And then maybe, you know, a little nipple twist here and there, right? And then he gets to go out and hang out with the boys at the bar. And the woman's entire life is at home, homemaker,
yeah.
responsible for raising the kids, taking care of the household, right? But as soon as women got the opportunity to go out and work, you know, men lost their minds. It's like all of a sudden, you know, now you've got to consider her feelings. You know, it's like, you know, you were not raised in that era to, you know, to have that perspective, right? And so there's a very high divorce rate, right? And then we want to talk about longevity in the marriage, right? If longevity is your goal, then yes. Who could, you know, 45 years together, 50 years together, who could say anything bad about it? Is it rewarding? Is it fulfilling? We're not going to talk about happy because happy come and go. We know that, right? I had a distorted perception of life and thought I should be happy 24/7. I don't know where I picked that up. I don't know where I heard that. But remember, I came into the world a blank slate like every other human. And I heard it somewhere and absorbed it and believed it to be true and spent most of my life chasing happy. You know, and as soon as I found happy, I pitched my tent and I was going to be there, you know, forever. But then happy left. And when happy goes, I go, right? Until I find happy again. I pitch my tent and you know, I'm there to stay. But then happy left. And every time happy left, I left. Right? It's like, and I was expected to have a successful relationship, right? You didn't give me the knowledge, the information. You didn't give me the guidance. But it was the expectation on me that they would have been successful. Well, how unrealistic was that, right? And so my point about the longevity unions, if that's your goal and you're able to achieve that, you know, that's what we're talking about, right? Navigating life successfully, right? But if also your goal was purpose, commitment, satisfaction, and you find that in your long-term relationship,
I got another one.
you're,
Stubbornness.
you're way ahead of the game.
Stubbornness.
Well, that's just a human characteristic,
Yeah.
right? Humans have a whole bunch of different characteristics.
I know a couple that are or new, and they just stayed together because neither one of them, you know what I mean? It was like, but they ain't have no kind of. And I knew both of them to know this. Like they was just, I'm not leaving. I'm just stubborn, and I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I'm not leaving. You just.
Well, all right. So, if longevity is the goal, they are successful, right? If happiness or satisfaction, then maybe not, right? It's up to us to navigate whatever life presents, and life is going to present without our permission from the moment we're born till we take our last breath. Our choice is either to navigate what life presents or to run, to ignore it, right? Humans, by nature, it's either fight or flight. And so, for a lot of humans, we choose to flight, we choose to run because navigating life is not easy. You don't have the knowledge, you don't have the information, and you might not have the guidance.
One thing that I always just say this, like, I have to tell friends or old friends, I was like, sometimes it was just that we were at the time like two ships passing in the night. We honked at each other but honestly, it was really nothing, you know what I mean? Nothing to really commit to that person, and they don't really realize that, you know what I mean? Because usually when you hear from somebody and that you used to know, it's for something. They want something from you. I ain't heard from you in years. It's good that you was thinking about me, but at the end of this, what you want? What you looking for?
Maybe they want some more rekindle that chocolate Marv experience.
Really? I'm talking about a meal.
Oh,
Honestly.
okay. Well,
Honestly. But I've had those.
if they're hungry,
I've had those.
You gotta feed them.
No, most of them just know that in times past, I always looked out for them. I always was that soft touch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't taking no offense to it. But now,
Well, I wouldn't see.
I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? You just can't keep getting from me. I'll help you out. You know what I mean? But I was just helping you out on the strength of knowing you. I love you, and God's going to bless me anyway.
And who you were at that time.
Huh?
And who you were at that time.
And today, because
But
this
just
having
somebody
reason.
different today, though.
Huh?
You just said just somebody different, right? But they're going to find that out
Yep.
when they come looking for the old Marv that they're familiar with, and the new Marv is tight.
Somebody just found that
New
out.
Marv is tight.
I helped her out. And then a few weeks later, it was like, can you help me out? I'm like, no. I didn't say no. I just, what they call ghosted you. Like, girl, I ain't got time for that because I'm going to tell you off. You know what I mean?
We're going to cover. We're going to cover that area in one of our upcoming shows. Right today, we're talking about the need to be emotionally intelligent, the need for me to understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and what is the source of that? Because I know most people have experienced this example here. I could be in a room of people, And there's something about that guy. I don't like him. Something about him I don't like. He ain't said two words to me. Ain't looked my direction. And I'm sitting in a room full of people and I'm saying, I don't like this guy. What's that about? Where the heck does this, thing come from? Right? So we know, psychologically speaking, you have to have a thought before you can have an emotion. Emotion's always attached to a thought. And so why the heck am I thinking this about somebody I don't even know? From a person that ain't even acknowledged my existence, don't even know I'm alive. What's that about?
That's that's once again that complexity of emotions, because I personally have been through that. And it's I was just watching somewhere someone said maybe at the time in some kind of way they felt inadequate to you. You know, you to them when you walked in the room you shined. You know what I mean? And they didn't like that. They like this whatever, however psychological that is.
Well, it
Like,
could be. It could
you
be.
know,
That could be.
like,
Maybe it's the way he entered the room, right?
yeah, it was just he just
Yeah, could be. Or it could be somebody who he looks familiar to. I had a traumatic experience with a person earlier in my life,
definitely run
right?
into that before too.
And so, but
You
it's
remind
still,
me of,
right, you remind me
yes,
of, so it's still my
yeah,
responsibility to
who used to smack
to
me
do the
around.
work, right?
Yeah,
And the thing about health and wellness, it's always an inside job. It's never going to be about what somebody said, what somebody did. I mean, as long as they're not putting their paws on you, right? But to have your emotions impacted by what people are saying or doing, you're asking for trouble. I mean, we're talking about being on edge until you take your last breath, right? So it's always going to be an inside job. Let me do the work so I can better understand where the stinking thinking's coming from, right? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way, right? And so as I do the work, I can become more aware of my emotions. I can become more self aware and can be able to identify what it is I'm feeling. There are grown adults who say, I'm feeling some kind of way. Right? You can't even identify what it is you're feeling. You just know that you're feeling different than you were a couple minutes ago. Right? And that can mean anything. Uh oh, he get ready to blow up, or, oh no, I'm attracted to you, whatever. But they're feeling some kind of way. And so, again, it's an inside job, and we should do the work so that we can have a better degree of emotional intelligence, our own emotional intelligence. Focus inward, right? And do the work. That outward focus is always going to be an issue for us. If we're focusing on other people, then chances are the work we need to do on ourselves is on hold or has stopped, right? This whole life challenge is about navigating life. Today, we're talking about emotional intelligence, right? In another show, we'll be talking about, you know, finances, right? And so we're going to try to cover just about every life challenge that most humans are going to face in their lifetime. And the emotional intelligence is just a major, important one.
I had a major experience. I became friends with a guy who owned the laundromat, and me and him struck up a good 2 year friendship of deep conversation. And the shop got messed up, and during the fix up or whatever, we became really, really cool. And because I visited him all the time, even though it was shut down. Anyway, push comes to when they got it back together, he had space. He had these couple of machines there, and I said, "Hey, why don't we get a soda machine and a snack machine?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "I can get that. I can do that and handle that." And so it was all, handshake agreement. Got it up in there. So I told him it'd be a couple of weeks more. I said, "I'm gonna get my paperwork right," and so I got a guy. We got that taken care of. So last week I went in and I started stocking. He goes. His family owned a few things, so he goes on a lot of trip. He goes away. So he got the Spanish girl in there, and she's kind of new. I knew all the girls who've ever worked in there. Been coming there for a good 5, 6, 7 years. If people owned it prior, I was cool with it, and they're Asian. So the other day I'm stocking the machine, and the Spanish girl gets on the telephone. Or she brings me the telephone. I'm thinking it's David, and I say, "Yo, Dave, I'm here stocking the machine." And this female voice came, Asian, and she was like, let me get real quick with it. She was like, da 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 da. I said, "Yeah, I'm stocking the machines." I said, "David gave me, well, I don't know what kind of I don't know what transaction you and David had there. And your dirty machines." "Oh, sweetie, my machine's not dirty." I said, "They're used, but they're not dirty." "I'm not feeling this transaction." Click. I was like, "Wow." So I gave her back, and we finished stocking the machine as much as we could, and then we broke out, and then it just hit me. I was like, wow. Now, I haven't heard from David, so I don't think she even said anything to David. I think it was a setup between the Spanish girl and her, whoever she was, but I guess it's David's mom and dad. They own most of the businesses that they own. But her word dirty coming out like that was more, if she had to say your used machines, like this is a laundromat, like it's, even though they fixed it back up, it's still not like, it's not complex or brand new. They got, you know what I mean?
Are we talking about the quality of a vending machine?
Yeah, like it was well, what it was, it was heartbreaking because now, and I haven't called David yet. I just went on and I put him online to sell. I said, because I don't want to put him between him and his mom.
You don't want to put him.
Huh?
You don't want to put him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You sure it's him who's been put? Seems like you're the one that's been put.
Yeah, I have.
Right.
It stopped mine. But
he put you in the position that
no.
He's on vacation and you dealing with his mom.
Well, he told me just let the girl know when I come in. See what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, he know I'm gonna be.
He set you up. Now he's leaving you to mom, right? He did not inform mom that you and him were going to do this venture, right? Now you got to deal with mom about your machine. Dave, where's Dave? What beats is Dave on?
I mean, I could have called him, but I don't even want to. I'm just. But the emotional.
I have a question.
The complexity of the emotional.
I have a question for Dave. Dave, why'd you let your mom get me all up emotionally? She called my stuff dirty, and I'm feeling some kind of way.
I mean,
Why'd you do that, Dave?
I love how my homies can give me the humorous side of it, and that's the way I look at it. All right, it's but once again, it rears its ugly head. Okay, it's always been there.
Okay.
Throughout my life, and even at 68, I'm still getting twinges of it, and I'm looking at the word the world is becoming. This young man here, he, you know what I'm saying? He has to go through it. Like I'm at the end leg of it, but the next 30 years for him,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Our director, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, the next 30 years for him, I I hope the best for them. All right, here's another one. My
Hope.
granddaughter.
Hope. Our parents hoped for us. How about a little help? How about a little knowledge? How about a little guidance? Right? We got to do more than hope because hope ain't gonna get it. Right? So whatever this young man might need to navigate a certain aspect of life, if you got some experience with it, with being successful with it, you need to pass that on.
His
You need to share that.
challenges. His challenges.
Are the same challenges we all have in life.
Not if they go to the nth degree.
What do you mean? Nth. It's going to simply be
The
if
nth
he's struggling
degree
financially,
is,
he's struggling financially.
you know, like I'm talking about in all aspects, okay? Even the, you know, I think about what half of these people are talking about, this Civil War, you know? And
Hey, no, that's not fair. That's not fair. Look, I can go up in
no, I'm just
I can
talking
go
about
up, I can go up in my head and come up with a whole bunch of stinking thinking and ideas and predictions about the future. That ain't what we doing here. We're talking
No,
about
I
right?
I got
We're
you.
not talking about
I
look,
got you.
if there's a race war, there's nobody who really could predict it.
Well, it's good. No. This
If
this
there's a
is going to be.
civil war, nobody
It's going to
can
be
predict
no. It's going to be different. It's going to be more of a freeze out and freeze in type civil war. That's what I'm talking about.
Since when
It's-
has it not been that way?
Well, it's going to be
Life has
even
always
worse.
Been that way.
Got you. I got a youngin' that I'm caring about. Once again, my granddaughter. She just got a hours cut. College graduate. Black girl in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like she's faced with. You know, like I wanted her to, you know, become an executive, and she's, you know what I mean? Those.
You wanted
Just
her to become.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
That's another.
I'm
one
trying
of
to
our
get her to
topics we're gonna
strive
talk about.
for the best while she can, but I also worry about the situations that she's going to have to face. Just like now, here's a new one. Bam.
Or
You know.
the situations she's going to have to face are life situations. You have no control over how life is going to present itself to her. She is going to have to make a choice to either navigate that aspect of life when it presents itself, or like all humans do, fight or flight. And if she chooses to navigate it when it presents itself, if she has the knowledge and the guidance to do it successfully, she'll be successful. If she doesn't, she's going to struggle. But that's how humans learn, right? What Edison said, he discovered 10,000 ways to not make a light bulb, right? Just to get to that one successful way. That's how humans learn, right? Now, the problem is most people want a comfort zone. That what they do is they do not navigate life. They may try initially when life presents itself, but then if they fail or if they find it hard, what they do is they withdraw, right? They think that because maybe life is a little what they consider stable, and that they don't have a lot of noise, like they're progressing, but they don't understand that that's not how humans progress. Humans progress by navigating life when it presents itself, and it doesn't matter what area life presents itself, it's going to present itself in that area sometime in your lifetime, right? And so the wisdom of the older folks, right, our parents, right, because of my lack of understanding, I took their wisdom as obstructive. They didn't want me to have fun, right? Because I didn't have the information or the knowledge to understand that the information they're giving me is to protect me. The information they're giving me is to support me in navigating this aspect of life. So when mom says sit on the stoop, right? She said sit on the stoop. And when mom said do as I say do, that's what she means. But the kids are going around the corner. And I want to go around the corner with the kids, right? And so with my baby brain, I can interpret her attempt to care for me, her wisdom, Stay on the stoop. I interpret it with my baby brain as you just trying to keep me from having fun, right? We grow up, we come into the world blank, and then we start to absorb stuff, and we hear a lot of our environment, people, family, and friends telling us what not to do. Don't do that. Don't do that. And my baby brain is saying, uh-oh, they're trying to keep me from having fun, right? There's no telling how a young brain is going to interpret information, right? Maybe, just a suggestion, maybe if mom had said, look, I'm asking you to stay on the stoop because what they're doing around the corner is bad, is not good for you, right? Maybe just a little more information would have been helpful. Maybe that would have cleaned up my interpretation of her order to stay on the stoop, right? And so instead of telling an emotional child, shut it up or I'll give you something to cry about, which will probably make me even more emotional, right? You know, what's wrong? Tell me what you're feeling, son. Explain to me, what it is you're feeling. Help me to understand what I'm going through, right? Help me to understand why I'm feeling the way I am. Help me learn how to identify what the heck it is I'm feeling, right? No, they didn't have time for that, or they didn't have the information or the knowledge, to do
To
that.
relay that to
Right,
you.
right. And then in another one of our titles, we're going to talk about the, what do you call it, conditioning that all humans in society experience. That's another topic on one of our other shows, but we're going to get to that. That conditioning has an impact on us as we go through life. So, being a human is a struggle. It's going to be a struggle, but it's supposed to be a struggle. And until people can change their perspective that they have some expectation of a wonderful, peaceful life, well, that's all about how you define wonderful and peaceful. Maybe your definition needs to change because life is hard. Life is going to be hard, and life is supposed to be hard. That's how humans grow. That's how we develop to our highest ability.
But see, more and more, and maybe because we have 10 times more people, that's becoming the flip side. Like, there's too many people flipping out every day. Okay,
They're just
and going
humans.
to the
They're just
all right with
humans.
the human stuff.
They're
You know
just
what?
humans.
I got you on that
No,
because
let's be
I have a
clear.
few friends who died in jail. Okay, because they flipped out.
You have any who died in war?
No.
Do you have any who died just in the hood?
Yes.
Humans die, right?
Sure.
Right? And we were all raised by society to just project this best face forward, right? Just to disregard the dark. Humans are capable of a wide range of behavior, and we never talk about that. We're just supposed to put our best face forward. We're supposed to be good people all the time, right? As a Vietnam veteran, I'm aware that humans are capable of a wide range of behavior, and a lot of it is dark. Stop acting like you can't do what you're seeing in the news. Because with the right trigger and the right situation, you are capable of some dark stuff.
Yeah, I'm.
This is human, right?
You know, the flip side of me does understand that because, like,
Well,
listen,
if we understand
I
that, we
haven't
should
been.
have some grace for those
I do.
who
One
are
side of me,
experiencing that aspect
50.
of being human.
Listen, 50% of me is the other side. I see why are people doing what they're doing. I remember feeling like that. I remember going to some extremes in my youth. Okay, especially during the time that I grew up. Like, I just read something the other day, and people don't even realize this. In 1969, Philadelphia, by the New York Times, was designated the gang capital of the world.
Yes, because
In
we had a
19,
lot of gangs.
so by 75, when we was at our peak with street killings and gangs, like I think it started off with 50, and by 1975, when I was deep and heavy on the inskirts and outskirts of it, it was maybe 200 gangs, you know. And I was telling one of my friends the other day in California, I said, gang warfare came from, in California, went to the level it went to because people from Philadelphia, Detroit, New York, Chicago took that shit to L.A. I had a friend, Cisco, who joined the Crips. He left us when he was 18. He went out California, and we went out to visit him, and he was a rolling 60, deep in it. Like continuation from when we had our thing going on, when I was trying to phase this nonsense out at 18, 19, you know?
Well, remember, we mentioned this at the very start, right? You and your friends, right? Because humans have a desire, a natural instinct to want to feel a part of something.
Yeah.
And so gangs are just another, example of a human having a need to feel a part of.
And here you go with the days. It's cliques. It's it's individuals with one or two people. Like everything, it's all a conspiracy, which is. But I call it the gang mentality.
It's not. It's and we're going to talk about this conditioning in another show in depth. But look, we were conditioned from birth, right, to be a part of something. That uniqueness that all humans were born in the world, your spirit, that was beat out of you at a very early age. Everyone went to school in grade school. You were taught to sit at a desk for 8 hours. You were taught to face forward. You were taught to follow the herd. And if your uniqueness stood out, if you showed any kind of difference, oh boy, you caught heck. You were the difficult child. And then you caught hell from your parents at home, right? And so they trained you, conditioned you to not allow your spirit, your uniqueness out. Follow the herd.
Yeah.
Right? So what
Wow.
they condition us to be is submissive, compliant workers. Right?
True.
They trained us to be at a desk for 8 hours. Now we got a job. We're sitting at a computer screen at somebody's company for 8 hours, right?
Even worse.
That's our life. That's our life.
A
We're
short
not encouraged to
order cook.
follow. We're not encouraged to follow our spirit and
Right.
go out and explore. You better get a job.
Yep.
You better get.
Don't care what kind of job it is.
Right.
Just come in here and say you working.
Right.
Like no ambition, no, and then keep that job for 20, 30
Well,
years,
Until you drop dead at the desk.
Yep.
Right? Some idea
wasn't-
about retirement.
you know what?
Some idea about retirement.
Man.
When you hit that magic number, you're gonna go to a wonderful place where everything is calm. Man, you was living paycheck to paycheck your whole life.
Your whole life.
You're gonna need a paycheck in your retirement. Right? Because again, as a child, you didn't teach me to save.
Right.
You didn't teach me to budget. You didn't teach me to invest so that
None of those
when I
things.
hit that magic number, I would have a few million, invested so I can live that, retirement life that you keep saying is supposed to be so wonderful, right? A bunch of BS, but this is just example of a lot of the BS that society has thrown out to us, and we absorbed some of this stuff, believing that it was accurate. But a lot of it is not.
Even today's kids, I see it in them. That's why I don't really like
They
in
don't-
the past.
It's not their fault.
I know.
They're
I know
human.
that.
They're
Listen,
human. They want to
I know
absorb
that.
information.
I
They
know
want to
that.
experience, but
You know what? I was around 3 on the step children 10 years prior to this 10 years, okay? I've been away for about 9 years, but for almost 10 years, like, I watched these kids, these spoiled kids, like that, we really kept on the step. We did not allow them to go around the corner, and they had everything. They were treated fairly. Like, I put it like this: compared to my growing up, maybe 15 to 20%, they were given like 80, 90. You know, of everything that you would need. Everything you would need. I'm sorry about that.
Can you believe that? He does not take care of his electronics. What can I say? This is the real deal here.
I didn't.
Yeah, so they got 80% of what?
Of everything that you would need to you know, to be able to be put on that path to greatness.
Because the environment had it to offer.
Yeah, I get that.
Right.
I get that.
And that's
I
the
get
reason
that.
why.
I get that.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you something about
Some
these
of us
kids.
got to get on the back end.
They will never help anybody.
Ouch. Ooh.
And I see them listen. I see them today, 10 years later,
Ooh.
and they help no one.
Oh.
They are some of the most selfish 18 and 19 and 24-year-old. Like, and I'm like, wow. Imagine millions of these muffins running around.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
Really?
seriously.
Well, look, we're simply talking about being human.
Sure.
And humans are capable of a wide range of behavior. We could be loving and caring and killers at the same time. I'm a Vietnam vet. I'm
Yeah.
proof of that.
Gotcha.
All right? So,
Gotcha.
you know, the fact that these people were given some kind of advantage according to your perspective, right?
I was there.
But wait a minute. But what you're talking about is stuff, right? If you think they were given all this advantage with stuff, where was the information and the knowledge and the guidance about caring for your fellow man, right? Where was that? That was obviously missing. So obviously they didn't get everything.
That's why I said 80%. That's why I said 80.
But you're talking
said
about
80.
stuff, right? And so again, and you said to be successful, right? And so stuff, is stuff good enough for us to be successful? So when you're in the rich family, you know, you just need to have access to stuff to continue being successful.
But they also, like I say, you know, they also was, you know, where I saw a lot of kids didn't have that. Like, these kids never were arrested, never, you know, strayed
they
from.
stayed on the stool.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a good place.
They followed their parents.
I kept my grandkids. I couldn't keep my kids, but I kept my grandkids. Offered them, you know, like they didn't even go outside to play. I was talking to my granddaughter the other day. I was like, you know, I ain't allow y'all outside to play.
This is how we learn. So
kept
you and you know you didn't do it with the kids,
Listen,
right?
man, yeah.
But the grandkids, sorry, you guys are going to get the benefit of what I learned with my own kids,
Yes.
right? But this is how we learn. This is how we progress.
I just wish, you know, more kids, you know. But like I say, you know, it's just those slight differences in, you know, and I guess that's where my emotions come in, because I'm the person that you burden with this, you know. Even the sight of you being the way you are burdens me. Like, damn, here go another one. Selfish.
Yeah, and
you know,
and do me a favor,
never.
right? Do me a favor. What they used to say.
Right.
Don't be burdening me with your burden about me, right? I'm going to try to navigate my life to the best of my ability. This is another challenge that humans have, right? So we all spend our lives trying to impress our parents, trying to make our parents proud of us, right? And they were never clear about what life they wanted us to live that would make them proud. But they could clearly say to us, I don't like the life you're living. That was the only thing they could be clear on. I don't like the way you live it, but you could not clearly explain to me what life is it that you want me to live that would make you proud of me, because that's what I'm trying to do. But we learn that we're never ever going to be successful trying to live the life other people want us to live. Each human has a spirit, a thing that wants to explore the world and experience the world
Wow.
and gain knowledge and information. And if we've been conditioned from grade school
Not to.
to not just do what you're told,
Yep.
right? So now we're stunted. Our spirit is stunted. Our spirit is crying, whoa,
I speak about that a lot. That's
Right.
one of the things with my granddaughter. And I'm trying to help her achieve her dream. Which
But it's got to be her
They didn't.
dream.
that,
It can't
that's what I'm
be
saying.
your
That's
dream
what-
for her.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Because you
her
said you
dream.
wanted her to be professional. You wanted her to excel in the professional world. But her dream is she wants to be a guitar player.
No.
But she's not. No, she is afraid to tell you that she wants to be an
No,
artist, because
she-
you're going to say,
We're
"You better
already
get a
that
job."
conversation is already out. She is talking about international law and moving around the world. And I'm like, I'm all for you. Now, how do we get to that plateau after you graduated college?
All right.
You know what I mean?
All right. It's going to
So-
take some information,
Exactly.
some knowledge, and hopefully
I'm there.
some guidance.
We go through and I send the cash that I can. You know,
we help support however
Yeah.
we can and be clear about what we can do and what we can't do.
Of
Right?
course.
Stop
Of
with
course.
the fronting and the faking.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to help you with all this. Let's stay in our wheelhouse. We'll help
Definitely.
what we can. And
Definitely.
whenever we want to succeed at navigating a life challenge, it's going to need guidance from a source that is familiar with that challenge.
True.
So that we can do it successfully. And when we do navigate life successfully, whatever the challenge is, our spirit is happy about it. Our self-esteem grows. Most humans have enough beat downs in life to, have their self-esteem impacted negatively, right? We've experienced enough failures in our past. It's time to have some successes,
successes.
right?
Exactly.
Unfortunately for you and I at our age, we have to sort of get ours on the back end.
Yeah.
Right? So now we have to learn about emotional intelligence. Now we got to learn about, finances. Now we have to learn about healthy relationships, as opposed to, being educated about this on the
you're
front end.
right.
You had me in school for 12 years and you didn't teach me anything about healthy relationships. You didn't, help me to understand my emotions. If I was emotional in school, I ended up in the principal's office. And then I got my butt whipped again when I got home.
And listen, here's another one that running into other people who are emotional. Because I ran into this a lot where somebody got emotional with me and started, whatever. But I'm in trouble too, even though I kind of took their nonsense, whatever it was, and was basically quiet. Like it was a few times where I didn't fight back. I let somebody slam me or throw me, and then it was like y'all was fighting. Like I wasn't fighting. I went limp. I took it, but I still got dogged.
Yeah, all right. But remember, those are just opinions, right? If they're not valid, I should not be able to let that fly. Do I have to defend myself with every accusation, especially if I truly feel like what they're accusing me of is not valid? That's not me. Let them believe what they want to believe.
Yeah, but when you young, no, because
Okay,
all that did was
okay.
make me.
There we go
All
again.
that did was make
There
me
we
be like,
go.
okay, I'm
There
not.
we go.
Now I'm putting it in.
That lack of emotional intelligence.
Now I'm putting
Right?
it in. Okay, y'all not gonna listen to what I'm saying?
There you go.
Now I'm gonna put it in. When it happens, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna give y'all a reason to.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Which is not being able to control your emotions.
Right.
You're right.
There we go.
You know.
And so, again, you and I at our age, we just have to get it on the back end. I'm not sure how many days I have left. I know I have less in front of me than I have behind me,
Heck yeah.
right? And so, my challenge going forward is whatever is currently got me knotted up emotionally and spiritually, I want to focus on that and learn to deal with that positively, successfully. Whatever is in my past, I have to leave that in the past. It's a wrap. I really ain't got no control over the past. And so if there is an opportunity to make an amends or apology for some past behavior, I'm sure the opportunity will present itself. I'm not going to go looking for it,
It does.
right? So if the opportunity presents itself, then hopefully I'll make a heartfelt apology and it will be helpful for them. But I truly understand apologies for my spirit, not for them.
Right. Exactly.
As I work on my health and my wellness and have faith that I'm doing the best I can, when I make an apology, it's really for my spirit,
Gotcha.
right? And so
Yeah.
going forward, I already know that tomorrow's not promised, right? And the truth is, at my age and what I've done to my body over years, the next moment ain't promised, right? And so I work in a hospital, and there are constant announcements over the speaker, right? Extreme team to third floor, room so and so, so. So I'm constantly reminded that the next moment is not promised. So I'm learning how to keep the focus present right here, right now, because it's really all I have, right? And so when you and I engage right here, right now, I want to be present. I want to hear what you're saying without listening to respond. I just want to listen to what it is you're saying. I want to be able to take that in. And it's a practice thing. It's a life skill, and it needs practice. And I'm only going to be able to do the best I can. All of this expectation of perfection, you're asking for trouble.
I
Because
say that a
humans
lot.
are never going to
Yeah.
be perfect.
Yeah.
Never.
And nothing's ever perfect. I've come to that. That's a mainstay. Like it's never been perfect. It's always been, but I'm good with it because you just tear yourself up.
Yes.
When you
Yes. Yes. Every time you show you're human,
Yeah.
you start kicking your own butt.
Yeah.
Right?
You tear yourself up trying to be perfect.
Trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. And of course
And
you
with
have
other-
help. You have help with that.
With
you
other
got family
people.
and friends.
Expectations of
People
yeah,
judging you
that-
and criticizing you. Yeah, you got
using
help.
you get it all. You
Well,
know.
if we can work on not doing it to ourselves, right? We don't have any control over other people's, judgment and criticism, but we're doing enough to tear ourselves a new one, right? So let's learn how to stop beating up on ourselves because we are going to be human. We are going to misstep, but that's a part of being human. That's the process. That's how we learn, right? Hopefully, when we misstep, we go back at it, right? And if we find that we're really struggling, then we need to seek a source that has experience with that challenge, right, and can help us navigate it, successfully.
You're right, because a lot of people don't have those. I was talking to one of my youngins. When I say my youngins, I'm talking about people like 40, 50 now. You know what I mean?
You calling them youngins.
Yeah, because to me, they're youngins, Like, I remember you when you were 15, and now you're 45 or you're 51. You know what I mean? And I've been knowing you all these years, so you're still my youngin, even though,
You're an
they
adult.
are men
Yeah.
in their own rights, and they're going through stuff, and they weren't given the proper tools. So
Because society don't want
I
us.
know.
They
Listen,
don't want
I
to take
get
care
it.
of
I
humans.
get it, but I'm that
They don't care
one.
about humans.
I'm that one. Whenever we're together, they be like, "Yo, man."
Humans have to care about humans.
I just.
Because society as a whole does not care
But
about humans.
here's the deep part about it. The thousands of people that they hang around with, family and friends and all of that are their ages and younger.
Yeah.
don't give them the knowledge that I give them.
They
It's
don't
so
have
weird.
it. They don't have it
I
to
know.
give.
But here's by another token. I just saw something on YouTube where this old head was telling these young boys that they have to leave the past behind. They have to leave the brothers on the corner behind, or they're never going to. And it was just a random joint with an old black guy. You know, he might have been like 80, and he got like 3 or 4 or 5 young guys in their 20s on the corner, and he just telling them in a few seconds how you're going to regret if you don't take your aspirations and go far with them. And one of the first things is doing that is getting off these corners with your homies. Like, that's it. And you got to soar. He said, you got to soar, or you're going to be right here, my age, like I am. Because he was in the hood talking to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, you know, the videos where the guy is watching this guy, you know, which I really like. He was like, because he caught it somewhere, so he was just going over and reposting it.
Well, it's all right, and
You know,
and that's important too. That when we have knowledge, we should offer it to the world, right?
Yes.
To whomever can benefit from my lived experience.
Gotcha.
We all have skills that we can offer the people who are struggling in the areas we were successful in, right? But somehow, right, we're not caring about our fellow man. It's sort of, people think it's cool to be solo. I'm a lone wolf. And they're bragging about being solo. There's nothing healthy about being solo, right? It's human nature to want to feel a part of friends, family, loved ones. But we may have been conditioned against it by our experience in life, right? By the training that we were raised with. But our nature should, when we see another human struggling, we should have some kind of, but I admit that I've been able to walk past people that I saw struggling in the street and keep stepping. Now, that's because I go upstairs with some of my distorted ideas and beliefs to justify or rationalize why I walk by them. But my spirit is clear. You saw a human struggling and you didn't. Right? I'm going to have to deal with my spiritual damage from my behavior choices. Right?
You know, it's deep how some people wouldn't even see. Like, honestly, would be right there. Like, it's so deep. It's almost like, something you would see on a TV or a movie where, honestly, there are people. I mean, I remember experiencing it myself. Like, I didn't exist. I was right there in front of them.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
I did not exist. And I was like, wow, this is something. Like, and when you're young, you don't really pay attention to that is what's going on. But they are actually dismissing you. They are so elitist in there that you right now, even though you standing there living and breathing, you don't exist to them. So,
Well, maybe because I'm human. And if I admit that you're human, that means this could be me. I don't want to believe that this could be me. I don't want to believe that my life could end up with me in your situation. Right?
True.
And
True.
so what? Just some stinking thinking. Look, the way we are today is not our fault. We absorbed information that was presented to us somewhere. We heard it. we Someone told us, and we took it in and assigned validity to it, right? And may have even be running our life based on this information. But at some point, we have to start to, do the clean out, right? The ideas I have that I'm running my life on have not shown any positive fruition. To believe what I believe in, that I have been fighting to argue for the right to believe, hasn't been a benefit to me. It's like just do a Dr. Phil, right? Just like, how's that working for you? Right? That's all you got to do is ask, how's that belief working for you? Right? How's that behavior working for you? Right? It- Look, when it comes to spirituality, it's real simple. Do the right thing. But as simple as doing the right thing is, it's the hardest thing for humans to do.
True.
That's a practice thing. Hopefully, in your lifetime, you'll start to do the right thing more frequently. But you ain't never gonna be perfect at it. Accept that you're only human, right? Even in the military, the training did not let me be a fallible human. I had to be something other than a human. Do the job you were trained to do and perform it in order to do so without question. I don't care if you're afraid. I don't care if got anxiety, whatever.
All of
Do
that.
your job, right? In order to do so. And so, look, man, we're only human. And this is the one thing that society does not want us to start to work on being healthy, does not want us to focus on our wellness.
You know, I actually you're so right about that. Like a lot of the deep psychological stuff that the professionals are talking about today is exactly what you just said. Like it is a trend down from the caring
I'm not sure when.
humanitarian.
I'm not sure when. Well, not this society anyway. I'm not sure when this society ever cared about humanness.
Well,
We were trained just simply to be, what do you call it, compliant tools, right? Look, if you have a skill that society can benefit from, you're probably going to be all right. But if you don't, you know what? It's going to be tent city. You're going to be living under a bridge overpass.
that is so, and that's where the humanitarian aspect falls out the window.
It don't want
You know what I
it
mean?
don't want us to go that way because
No.
it only wants our utility to it. How can you be a benefit to society? Then you'll be okay. But if you
That's why it's deep.
society is cold,
Yeah,
society is cold, and so it's time for humans.
like they want an even worse pandemic that
Hey,
happened. You know what I mean? Like,
society, look,
Bill Burr jokes about
man,
weeding out,
I think
millions of
society-
people in his uh, comedy a few years ago. He used to talk about that. Like we don't need a whole, and
Well, they talking about what? What do you call it? Lowering the herd,
yeah,
right? Calling, yeah.
it's calling whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of names for it,
Right?
but
Just like
getting-
that COVID thing,
getting
right?
rid of
They
like
didn't
a
move
pandemic.
they didn't move too fast.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't
Oh,
move
man,
too
they-
fast.
Listen,
They never want to talk about the amount of humans who died.
Yeah.
Who died alone.
Well,
Who
they
died without being connected to their human
yeah,
lineage.
yeah.
They had to be alone. Wow.
Honestly, it's so funny because I was watching it from the beginning, and Trump said 2.5 million, and I think that he was right on with the number. Like they even knew how many people, before we get this thing. It's gonna be. It could be 200,000. It could be two. It could be 200,000. It could be 2.5 million. Like he threw them a few numbers out, and
Yeah.
it hit
Well,
right on that. Like,
society has an agenda.
we had a great test run, Your Honor.
Yeah,
Your
well,
President.
there it is, right?
Yeah.
Now we're talking about getting up in my head and coming up with conspiracy theories. The problem is I can think a whole bunch of dark stuff up in my head.
Yeah.
And so I want to stay out of there. I just want to deal with what is actual and factual.
Gotcha.
And the fact is that a lot of people died in that thing, and it didn't seem like they had to. Right? But they did. And so can you imagine the emotional impact on a person who could not go to their family's bedside? Maybe they were even fortunate enough to be able to have a Zoom connection to their relative while they died on video, right? But what about those who weren't even able to connect like that?
Right.
Now you're walking around
Yeah.
here messed up emotionally, unless you have some understanding and some knowledge about emotional intelligence, right? That you're able to put your feelings into their proper perspective. Other than that, you're just walking around mourning the loss.
Or crashing out over it.
Well, and so the crash out, I'm going to suggest, right? Consider this. The crash out is the result of the lack of processing the emotional loss,
I got you.
right? We're talking about loss is a spiritual damage, right? We're tough. We can do some physical stuff, walk off some physical stuff. Spiritual pain is not something that you walk off. It has to be addressed. And loss is a spiritual damage. And yes, so you crash out behind that if you can't get help with that. That's another aspect of navigation that humans need help with and guidance with how to do it. Right? We're physical, we're psychological, and we're spiritual. And we should be able to go to a source that has understanding or knowledge of how to help us guide, navigate that thing successfully, right? That's why we have psychiatrists. We can't navigate our psychology on our own. We don't have that skill set, right?
I had a friend Marcy used to, when she would go be in the old neighborhood, I pull up on her. I was like, "What you doing down there?" She was like, "Oh, this is therapy." She would get my car.
Yeah,
Take
sometimes you got slum,
like, yeah, she was
forget
like,
where you came from.
this is therapy.
Yeah. And so physical too. We need professionals because we're only human, and if we have not been trained and guided in the knowledge of these things, we need to go to professionals for it. But most humans act like they know everything there is to know anyway in life. So it's not until they realize that they're struggling and that they don't know everything, that maybe they might even start to get honest and ask for help from a source that can help them do it successfully.
Yeah, it's true because most people, even if they know somebody, they don't call for help. They
Nobody
don't
wants to admit
unless you
that they
get
don't know what they're doing.
yeah,
Besides, I have been telling y'all all my life. I knew everything there was to know about life,
yeah,
and that now I have to
yeah.
deal with the embarrassment of admitting to you I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Jeez, I set myself up. No, I can't come to
A
you.
lot of times when I get to them and they go through, they be like, "I didn't even think of you." I'm like, "See, that was your loss." Like,
Hey,
especially if you lost,
hey,
and I could have helped you not lose.
you're talking about the youngsters, the
Yeah,
41 years. So I have
yeah,
two sons, who are at that age, and you talk about loss, but you think they would come to me, right? You think they would come to me and ask about navigating the challenges that they're struggling with?
gotcha.
So I'll
Yeah,
be the last person they would think, would be positive, or they're embarrassed to admit that they're struggling, or who knows what human problem
right,
is
right.
keeping them from asking for help,
Gotcha.
right?
Yep.
But we see it, and so that's why we decided to consider this to the masses, so that we're not saying that what our discussion is for the day is relevant to you, but it may be relevant to a few of the other viewers, right? And maybe next week's topic might be more relevant to your challenge, right? But if you're successful in navigating your emotional knowledge, then you could be useful to another human who is struggling with that area, right? Our lived experience is very important. Enough with the judgments, enough with the criticisms and suggestions. I need to know how you successfully navigated this challenge because it's currently whipping my butt. Right? That's all I need to know from you. And if you don't have any experience with it, don't say nothing, right?
Right.
I appreciate you just being here to support me, but I need to access a resource that is familiar with this challenge and can help me do it successfully. So we go by lived experience here at Consider This. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. You have any last wisdom for the masses?
No, it's just a lot of, hey, it's more thought on different, it's just the complexity. Like I say, the complexity of emotions, like that's some deep stuff, cause, and like I say, mine is it's not even mine. One is 1/3 mine, and the other 2/3 right now. This time is other people's.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Like,
that's in one of our
and that's-
26 topics.
That's
how to not take on other people's burdens.
Yeah,
But,
right. But it's just part of that when you care, and I was trying to get that, like, I guess I just care, and I thank God for that, keeps me from going postal, being able to care. But I know how to care from a distance now, and I can't care for 10 or 12 people at one time like I used to when I was younger.
You said
See,
postal.
that is that PTSD. Anything postal is anything from.
Are you ex-postal employee?
No, I just used that was the first term for people.
We apologize to any postal employees. All right, his use of that term.
I'm just using that term. That was the first term that came from anybody what they called they crashing out. That was in the early '90s when people just started being like really the whole. It seemed like across the country, the gangster shoot 'em up, stab 'em up, beat 'em up waves started like en masse, like it was a ripple effect, and it was more presented through the rap. Because see, I was a person who was a producer of a rap group. You know what I mean? So I was in that world in the early '90s.
What was that gangster
90s.
rap?
When that first started, yes, when that first started. See, here in Philly, all the underground rappers were already doing that in 91, 90. Like, their raps was full of street. Even, and, well, not so much Questlove and Tariq, but, like, my partner knew them two guys. They were up and coming. Questlove worked at the Trop. But because I went to the shows. I was there, roadie. I was everything. I got them there everywhere. And so I got to meet a lot of people. We took pictures. My man was an artist and everything. So, but that's when the wave of gangsterism really started hitting everybody.
I'm more Public Enemy. I prefer the positive.
I got you.
I can't do the gangsters.
I didn't even, I heard it, and I, because I was an ex, street guy, I understood it, but I didn't even then. I was like, I remember going one time to the Trop, okay? Questlove used to work the door. He worked at the Trop. This might be 90, 91,
Yeah, I remember the Trop.
92. Anyway, we got in, it's a 4-hour freestyle concert where all these acts are just coming up on the stage doing their thing. After about an hour, I remember I had to go outside. And so, later on, my partner, he was like, yo, you left. I was like, yo, listen. I said, I was listening to the music, each act. After a while, I started thinking about killing my enemies. And it started permeating my brain. And I had to go outside to get some air, and I didn't even realize it. And I said, yo, man, this is, that ain't cool. Like, y'all see what I be listening to because they love my old school, my radio, all my funk stuff. They
Well, it's
love
not cool for people like you So everybody in that concert who was like Marv needed to get the heck up out of there.
But my thing was, I saw the trend of the young people really gravitating towards the colors, and then like everybody to where Philadelphia is today with these young boys, Chicago, Detroit. I saw all of that.
Yeah, humans struggling,
And-
with life, right? A lack of information, and obviously there's a lack of emotional intelligence.
The parent
when
neglect.
when they're angry, somebody
The
gets shot
parent
up.
neglect. You know.
Oh, I'm not going there. That's
Oh yeah, I'm going there.
I'm not going.
I've seen that.
I'm not going there.
Shoot, I got old girlfriends today. Their kids are now in their 20s. Like all of them are little gangsters and thieves and stay in and out of jail.
I ain't saying nothing like that. Okay, look.
Even the daughter is off the hook. I'm like, yo, girl.
I appreciate Marv showing up today. I want to thank everybody who viewed this video. Please, if you can, hit the like button. We use the support. And hopefully we'll see you guys on the next offering of Consider This. Thank you.
I have a good